Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Hi, everyone. This interview was done at a Waves coffee shop in a rental room at the back of the store. It is very echoey, so I have to apologize for that. Nonetheless, it was an honor to sit down and interview Geoff, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for listening. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 331 podcast. I am your host, Chris Tawes, and I'm super pumped to be here. Today, my guest is a longtime friend and colleague of mine, someone I have greatly admired and respected my whole career, someone who has worked in emergency healthcare for 40 years, 10 years as an ICU nurse at Peace River Regional Hospital, and over 2 decades as an RN in the emergency department at Royal Columbian Hospital before retiring in 2023. But not only did he work as a high-level RN, he also worked as an advanced life support paramedic, saving lives and kicking ass here in the Lower Mainland for 27 years before retiring yesterday. Who is this incredible person, you may ask? It's none other than Mr. Geoff Taylor, a.k.a. Papa G. Geoff, what an honor it is to have you here on the show today. Thank you for being here.
Man, Chris, thanks. This is just a pleasure to come out and talk to you. I'm glad to do anything for you, buddy.
Oh, so great. Geoff, why don't we start off in the beginning now? I know you were born and raised in New Brunswick. Did you always want to get into emergency medicine, or is it something you got interested in later on?
Well, you know, it's maybe an old thought process, but you know what really spurred me on was the show Emergency.
Oh.
I know it sounds colloquial, you know, but I was a dairy farmer. And I tied steel. My father got me a job in the summer tying steel. My mother got me a job working in the post office in the winter. I really didn't do anything. I wasn't involved in healthcare. And I watched this show Emergency, and then St. John Regional Fire Department decided to hire the same guy who ran the real emergency in LA, and train the firefighters in St. John, New Brunswick. Of course, the legislation was too far out, and it didn't happen. That kind of spurred me into healthcare. And when I became a certified nursing orderly through the college, we worked in the emergency department at St. John Regional Hospital. And we had a pager, and it would go off, and you'd call the operator because the hospitals ran the ambulance service. And then you'd go across the parking lot and get into your ambulance that looked like the old Ghostbusters machine.
Yeah.
And you'd go do the call then.
Nice.
And that's where I started my stuff, which is wild.
What, how did your parents receive that? You know, because you were, they probably wanted you to get back into farming.
No, you know, my mom was busy raising 7 kids. My dad was a carpenter trying to provide for them. I worked for my uncle on the farm. He liked it when I was there full time for a couple of years, but then we didn't see eye to eye over things, and I kind of moved on.
Okay.
And back to the city. So.
Right. Cool. And then you still love it after all these years,
Oh,
right?
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. It's a great profession.
So Geoff, after dealing with so many emergencies and responding to countless 911 calls, can you share with me some of your best calls?
Well, I guess what you have to decide what's the best call. Man. Like,
I think,
you know, we help deliver children, which are really cool. I'd have to say one of the coolest ones was responding to this car at the side of a road. It was sort of an unknown thing. It was up north, and it was, I think it was around November or something, cold, rainy up north. And it turned out to be a man and his wife and his children who were trying to negotiate the highways up north, coming back from a military assignment in Alaska, headed to Georgia, and he was freezing his butt off. So we kind of steered him in the right way, got him warmed up, blankets, place to stay for the night. Stuff like that is like, you can't get any better than that.
yeah,
Just helping people, and you don't necessarily have to provide health care. It's just helping people. It was really cool.
yeah, I agree. It's those kind, you know, like warm moments, right?
Yeah.
What's the kindest thing that you've ever seen? I'm looking for something.
Well, you know, I don't try and sort of pay attention to what other people do. I can tell you the kindest thing I think I did was sit and have tea with an elderly woman who just lost her husband in a cardiac arrest. And she just looked sort of lost, and I sat her down in the chair and asked her if she wanted to have some tea, and just sat, had tea and chatted. And I think that for me, that was probably, an incredibly good moment. She had no one. She just lost her husband, been married for 53 years. It's like, wow, what can I do? I mean, saying I'm sorry or your spouse is dead, it's not really big. Uh, it was great.
Yeah.
I made the tea. I kind of felt like I was a son or something was kicking around. It was good, really good.
That's good. I know those moments can be kind of awkward. I try to do something to offer them water and stuff. You don't know what to say.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes.
Yeah.
It's really hard. You don't know how people are going to react. And of course, we deal with a lot of older people. Not that I'm that young anymore, but it's cool. It's cool when you can, hopefully bring some solace to them and make them feel good at the time. It's a terrible loss. It takes a long time to recover for someone. But hopefully we've been a little gentle the way that we've helped them through this sort of awkward moment in their life.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think of this woman, something like years ago, where husband and her went out dancing, and they were with friends, and then they went home. She said that they just made love, and they slept in separate bedrooms afterwards because he got up early. And then when she got up in the morning, he noticed that she was still in bed, and he had passed away, like in bed, probably grief stricken and stuff. And then I was just thinking to myself that it's actually probably one of the best ways you could ever imagine going out.
Yeah,
what I mean? And I said that to her, and it's kind of like this perspective, like, yeah, this is this incredible day that you guys had together.
Well, I had an incredibly passionate time.
Yeah.
And then that was the last memory. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That is not a bad way to go.
Exactly.
It's hard on whoever's remaining, but it's not like we see so many terrible things in healthcare. And as a nurse, people die incredibly terrible deaths in hospital. To do that, in some way, yes, it sounds bad, but it's not a bad thing.
I came across a guy too, like carried a woman down 10 flights of stairs on his back.
Oh my God.
She was 86, just faced short of breath, and fire alarm got home, right? So he carried her down 10 flights to the fire department on the 10th floor of this building in Coquitlam. And it was this amazing, because he recognized that she was in trouble, and he just carried her down. He was just that kind of guy. And
incredible.
I was picking up this question, and I thought, what kind of stories have I got? I'm like, I love that story. I thought that was so great.
So
he
cool,
didn't want any thanks about it. He just did it, right?
He just did the right thing at the right time.
Exactly.
You don't really need thanks for it. It's just what you would do.
Yeah, exactly. We also see some strange things in this job. What are some strange kinds of things that you've seen?
God, where do you start?
I know.
I don't know. Although thankfully they haven't been fatal. You see people do strange stuff at home, and they fall and they break things, and it's like, what in God's name were you doing? Like standing on a barbecue or something to put up a string of lights.
Right.
My God, why would you stand on something with wheels and a rounded top?
Yeah, and you want to ask him that, but you can't.
You can't. Or the car is wrapped around a pole, and they're sitting talking on the phone, and you're going, "How the hell did you do that?" Like, the pole's on the opposite side of the road, going the wrong direction, and your car's over. Like, how in God's name did that?
Yeah.
Just weird things.
Yeah, I know. Right.
You laugh. They're good for a laugh.
Yeah.
Nobody gets hurt. It's good for a laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. And you need that as like a coping skill.
You got to have a little black humor. Right. I mean, it's a terrible thing to say, but I think everybody does.
Yeah.
Even a regular public who won't admit it. They laugh at some of these silly things go on. They just shake their head and laugh.
Yep.
You got no choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Because otherwise it just kind of just makes you angry, right?
Well, you can't take it too seriously. I mean, nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
So you wrecked the shit out of everything. Nobody got hurt.
Right.
I remember seeing a guy who was intoxicated as can be, and he ran a red light down in Langley and came up over the sidewalk and got airborne, turned the car sideways and ended up in a dealership between two cars.
Wow.
With the door down, and he's drunk as a fish. And so I thought, how am I going to get him out of here? This is not great. And I just went and opened the door, put my head up, and what the hell? Oh my God. How the hell did you do that? Like, he must have been,
He must have passed out on the car, and then
I'm sure, yeah. And
veered
then,
himself off.
and go and put his foot on the gas and got airborne. Just weird. It's just like
Yeah,
strange shit.
yeah.
But he was fine. Destroyed 3 vehicles, but
Right.
that's why we have insurance.
Yeah. Yeah, this weird thing happened one time. It was like the Trump Tower that was going up, and
it's
huge building, like 80 floors or something. And the sky, the crane dropped one of those huge pane glass things, right? So it comes in, and it fell at like Georgia Butte, 9 in the morning, and I was thinking,
tons of people there going to work.
It missed everybody. It never hit anyone. It never hit a car. And we're all like, us, the police, and the fire department, we're all kind of looking around, and nothing happened to us. Nothing even happened.
This just broke a piece of glass.
Right? Yeah, exactly. We're just like, okay, because we were all like getting engaged.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy thing.
Do some serious damage,
right? And I just even to this day,
oh my God,
it's a miracle that did not even.
That's just so weird. I mean,
I know.
We'll go with it.
Yeah. With all of your knowledge and experience in emergency medicine, what sort of things do you wish could be done to make things run more efficient?
Oh goodness, Chris, that's sort of an unfair question. Man.
Oh, okay.
From my perspective, I mean, I've provided frontline care, whether it be in nursing, and so the efficiencies always seem to be that there's never enough people to do the work, but there always seems to be an abundance of that middle management, upper management. It doesn't seem to really understand the concept. So, I mean, the efficiencies can only be had by having people who understand that. And I don't know, not really anything. I mean, I think that paramedics are very efficient.
Mm-hmm.
We do our job well. We take people to a hospital, and then that's your first barrier. And that's a barrier because of human resources, lack of facilities, lack of bed space, lack of thought 10 years prior from the people in upper management. You could go back and look at the Liberal government decision to close St. Mary's Hospital. And although the Romano report from Health, we did one for the health sector in Canada, looking at forward health needs in Canada. And one of the things he said was, look at how many beds we're going to need for long-term care, intermediate care, and independent living, because of course we know now Canada's aging. Yeah, well, it was aging 20 years ago when the report came out. But instead of governments acting upon that, they get closed facilities down. And so that has an effect, that has a backward effect on everything. And acute care is the big one.
Oh, huge.
Like if you're an elderly person and you break a hip, now we know you need rehab, it's going to take a long time. Well, if I don't have any rehab beds, I can't get you out of the hospital bed. If I can't get you out of the hospital bed, the person downstairs who needs that bed can't get the bed. Emergency department gets plugged up, and then you and I trying to offload our patient now wait. Sometimes I've waited 12 hours in the past. So, and that's what we see. So the efficiencies are not at our level. They're not at the level of the nurse in the emergency department. The efficiencies are always with that select group of people who are making decisions that have a forward effect. No, we're not going to open 1,000 long-term care beds. Okay, so that means 1,000 people down the road are going to be in emergency departments.
Yeah.
Oh, and no, they won't get old. Well, percentage-wise, they're getting old. And out of that small piece, thankfully, the majority of seniors stay in their own homes. They do well with a little bit of assistance or don't require any. But for that group that you and I see in healthcare, their level of needs go up dramatically. And when you don't have that 1,000 beds, the efficiency's gone.
Yeah, I agree. And, so I've always thought, more care home beds and also more treatment centers for people as well, because that is taking up a lot of resources as well.
Well, in Canada, I think that many of the experts who study it, way above my academic training, will tell you that, we've never invested into preventative health.
Right.
Now, Health Canada would tell you, yes, they have. We have cigarette packages that can only be sold and hid behind something. But then, we transition into vaping, and then for a few years, the black market for vaping chemicals, and we ended up with popcorn lung and all kinds of respiratory disease associated with that. And now every youth, instead of smoking, is vaping, and yet we don't know the long-term effects of vaping. So have we just gone from one whole group of COPD or lung cancer debilitated individuals waiting for the next wave of young people to come? Because Health Canada is that far behind.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no research because, of course, it's a new product. How do you research a new product? But, whether you work in industry, whether you and I work in the backyard, if we're a big fire every day and we're sucking in smoke, you got particulate matter. It's going to have that's why we worry about pollution within our cities.
Yeah.
And so the efficiency component, you and I think, are efficient. Sure, we could twig it a little bit in every direction and gain an incremental little bit of efficiency. But the efficiency that we need in healthcare can't come from just one sector. It has to be that whole continuum.
Yeah. No, it's a collaborative.
And it's got to be made by the people who have the ability to change it, not you and I.
Yeah. No, I know we just have that unique perspective being on the ground.
Yeah.
That point of view,
Well, I'm hopeful that 5G technology and the ability to do video over phones or whatever else, the introduction of more biometrics in the future will make things efficient. Because if I phone and I require an ambulance, and I have a particular problem, and someone who is capable of making that analysis says, "Oh, let me put you through," and they could transfer that video call, because you can all do your biometrics all by putting your finger on it. So maybe that urgent care center or that nurse line, because you now have raw data. Oh, my heart is beating fast. Well, your heart rate is 64.
Right.
So now maybe they can talk about an anxiety component or what's causing that, as opposed to 911, send 3 emergency vehicles ripping through the community. Someone who says, I got palpitation with a heart rate of 64. So maybe biometrics and technology in the future will help us. That could be a very big efficiency gain. I mean, we do it in somewhat now. We have a COPD home oxygen programs for individuals. They do their pulse oximetry. They can do peak flows, and if the levels go down too much, they have a regime of medications, and if things continue to deteriorate, then they call it. And we don't see as many people with COPD coming into hospital now.
That's true.
So that's just one program. You've been done in place with it. You got the phone and all the equipment. So
I was thinking of technology where you can get like maybe blood draws. You get some blood draw samples tested as well, or even some like urine.
Well, again, I don't really see the efficiency of that. I mean, you can spend a lot of money on data acquisition. So if you want to do point of care testing, you have to make sure every day that you do quality assurance so that the machine is actually calibrated.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And then if you decide to do it and it comes back positive, now what do you do about it?
Take it to the
hospital. So now you've just introduced an additional technology and money.
Yeah.
From a system that is really restricted in the amount of money it has. So where do you find the efficiencies, and how do you use the money you have? So, I think there are better ways to do it, but
yeah, no, for sure. But I think technology is going to play an advantage for sure.
I hope so.
In the future.
Yeah, I hope so.
Right?
I mean, I see those ads now on TV quite a bit about the 2-finger electrocardiograms up to your phone.
Oh, yeah.
Now, obviously he's selling a product, but the fact that, we have the number one reason people have irregular rhythm is AFib. You can now say, oh, I'm in AFib again.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's not an unusual, but sometimes people go days and days and days with it. But if they feel something unusual, they could check it every day. No different than checking your blood pressure or your blood sugar.
Yeah.
Some efficiencies will help.
And just informing the people of what is going on with it. I find a lot of times people have a disease and they don't really understand what that disease does, what to do about it.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll just ask them that question.
Well, you and I both know. I mean, 90% of the people we see. My favorite is the blister pack with 10 meds or 15 or 20. You have any medical problems? No. Okay.
all these meds are working. Yeah.
Everything works. I don't have any problem.
Exactly.
So yeah, patient education is still always the big one, and it doesn't matter whether you're young or old. We have the young asthmatics who don't understand their disease. We just saw one a couple of days ago who was as blue as your shirt and in cardiac arrest from his asthma. Now, when you're 21, that should never happen to you.
No.
21, you should be paying attention to your disease.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, he survived and he did well, and he'll go home. But holy God, to get to there, we need to educate this young man never to happen again. Not only for his health, so he doesn't die.
Yeah.
Because young asthmatics can die so quickly. But if you think about the system that saved him and then sent him home, you just spent $250,000.
Yeah.
Because he's in ICU for multiple days and ventilated and on and on and on. So you don't want to spend that money if you can educate and prevent him from ever getting there.
Yeah. Yeah. I took an ECMO team from Columbia to Ridge Meadows one time for a status asthmatic.
Yeah.
19 was wild.
Yeah.
And seeing those guys too, seeing the patients so young.
I know. But that, we now can extend that care to people, and it's great. They get through all this craziness, but can we prevent them from getting there? Because that ECMO team, that admission, all of that, you start pushing into $500,000 or discharge or $1 million. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
$1 million is like, 100,000 plus immunizations.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
got to balance it somewhere.
And we'll be right back.
Do you have pants? Well, if not, try Joe Fresh pants. What do I like about them? They have pockets. Joe Fresh pants. Wow, what are these?
The new sriracha flavored Doritos.
I love them. They're so good.
Not too spicy?
No, they're perfect.
Can I try one?
No, sorry, they're all gone.
What?
The new sriracha Doritos. They're so good. And back to the show.
Taking care of others can take a physical and mental toll on us out there. What sort of things do you do to unwind and decompress?
Well, I would like to say that I feel more centered for two reasons. One is that having worked in ICU for 10 years, you see a lot of people die, and they die from end stages of. So I have accepted as a healthcare person that people die. And regardless of what we do, the most modern medicine, the best equipment, the best people die. So first of all, that has helped, because a lot of the time we have young paramedics, and we'd like to save everybody, but you have to accept that people will die. And then the second thing to save me is I bike to work and bike home for my whole career.
Yeah.
And when you get on your bicycle and you got to go through an hour and 15 minutes of city traffic, from the middle of the end of Vancouver, where I worked at 46th in Tohoku. It's only 25K, but I'm crossing every major street. You cannot focus on work. You cannot focus on all of that. You must focus mentally on preserving your own life as you move through traffic.
Yeah.
And I think the physical activity, not focusing on the stuff you can't control, has helped.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I remember that when I was starting out in this career, you were running 46, and you'd be saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna ride home," and I'd offer you throw your bike in my truck.
And I'd say, "No,
go in your direction."
Yeah.
No, I want to ride.
I want to ride.
Yeah,
and it's an incredible mental break.
Yeah.
And I ride today. I still run. I'm sitting on the fence about getting a new bike now that I'm retired, so I can ride more.
Well, I know you like to travel too. I think traveling is
so
too.
So I think, that's how I walk through. Of course, good people around me that help me and mentally talk through a lot of these really tough times. And I think people need to surround themselves with people that are realistic and blunt, but in a very compassionate way as their friends. And I encourage that everybody that comes through the program. Who are your people you can talk to, you trust, who will be honest? And a lot of them have great, so hopefully they don't get that,
Yeah, that's where you get the personal growth.
Oh,
Right. You get some of that hard truth.
yeah. But again, I think we have to be willing to accept that people die,
Yeah.
regardless of what you and I do, and what we try and do, and what hospitals do. People die. The human body is that frail.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, in my lifetime, I've seen terrible misery. I've had family members who have died young, parents who are dead because of just age and disease. But it emotionally takes a toll, yeah, but you must, I think we have to be just human. You're allowed to have emotion, cry, feel angry, do whatever, but also realize that you've chosen a job that's going to put you in front and center with that. So find those mechanisms that work for you. For me, as I say, I told you, ride the bike and focus.
Yeah. This job has made me also appreciate the days that I am healthy and above ground and,
Yeah.
with the sun shining and the families at home. I love it. It puts it in perspective. It's today is a good.
It's a day, and it's so easy. Like, when you and I finish, I'm going to pop home, and Kim and I are taking the dog out to Fit Meadows and go for a swim. He's going to go for a swim. It's just going to be fun.
Yeah.
So that's really enjoyable. Let's just, just let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you and Kim have been married for 31 years.
Yeah.
What's been the secret sauce to maintaining that relationship?
Wow. Well, I think I would have to say we're both good listeners.
Yeah.
Kim would come home and, teaching, I think, is just as difficult as healthcare. A lot of the same issues about who's running what system and how do you deal with troublesome people within it, and no budgets, and how do you get it? And, it just sounds like healthcare, other than the outcomes different. And so when Kim would come home and want to vent, I have to be there for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I come home, I don't vent a lot, but sometimes I'll tell her, I had a crappy day. She'll say, why? And I'll say, no. And she's very realistic. She's saying, well, as we were just discussing, she'll say, people die. You try your best. And I know you do, but people die.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so true. You just have to take it to heart. Sometimes it's a little hard to accept it because we're perfectionists, but you do it.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then, so far we've, I think as a couple, we've done, hopefully what majority of couples do. We talk about finances.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about vacation. We talk about time off. We talk about how we spend our time together, where we go together, what we do together. We have totally separate interests. Like, as I'm telling you, my wife trains a dog and she's in the field all the time. I help her out, but her interests are entirely different than mine. So it helps that, we've been married that long, but we're so separate as individuals. We certainly have common ground, and that's helped our whole lives.
Yeah. I've always tried to, someone told me a long time ago, like, date your wife.
Oh, date your wife? Yeah.
Date your wife.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. It's like, don't take her for granted.
Yeah.
Take her out, make her feel special. Try to do something for her that'll make her feel special and that you love her.
Yeah.
And that will really help things move along.
Well, it's so important, and I'll give you the most concrete example you wouldn't believe. So every year, you get cable TV, but we don't get certain channels, but the Westminster Dog Show from New York City is on. So we get that channel for a month. So she could watch the Westminster News Show from Madison Square Gardens in New York City. So I thought, for a surprise, I'm going to buy tickets for the Westminster Show, and we're going to go to New York. Now it's near the end of March, and February, March, I forget exactly, but it's cold, it's snowy, it's miserable. But you know what? I came to her and I said, can you take this period of time off next year? She said, why? Well, we're going to go to the Westminster Dog Show in New York City. Oh my God.
Awesome.
It was just we had a great time.
Yeah.
She got back. Well, I had the really good tickets so that we were allowed to get backstage, talk to all the handlers, see all the dogs. She was just like beaming for days.
Wow.
And we would go there in the morning at 9:00 and leave at 8 at night.
Oh yeah.
we would just go across the street to the pub to get something to eat. And that's it. Like, it was just like, boom.
That's perfect. Well, you knew that she would love that.
Yeah, I knew that.
So,
Like, one in a
just
lifetime
nailed it.
experience.
Yeah.
Now I know she wants to go to Crufts in England.
Okay.
So we're going to go to Crufts.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, New York's amazing. I think anytime you
Oh, it's
it
amazing
doesn't
place.
matter.
I know. I love it.
that city.
I love it. It's a nice city
Yeah.
to visit.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
got an energy about it, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
200 years of it.
Right?
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. One of the many qualities I've admired in you is your kindness and the way you make everyone feel important. You always made me feel relaxed in stressful situations. You always made me feel like I was part of a team. Where did you learn to be such a good leader?
I don't know, Chris, to be quite honest. I guess just through my whole life, I noticed things, and I've always said, I will never do that. But take, for instance, when I worked for my uncles on the farm. So I had an older uncle and a younger. So one was 70, one was 50 or so. And so older uncle, Jimmy, he was really nice. And I said, well, Jimmy, when's the last time these tractors were serviced? Do you mind if I do it? No. So he would let me do anything. He was always a kind gentleman. And then the younger guy, you do a bunch of stuff and I'm working on it. And he come on and say, come to you and go, have you done this yet? Done that?
Right.
Well, haven't you done anything? I wanted to say, you lazy sack of shit. But I didn't.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm not going to be like that. When somebody's doing something really difficult and hard, you can either offer to help or tell them they're doing a great job, but don't screw with their head. And so, in nursing, I never really ran into that. Like my first nursing job, I had like the most fabulous people to work with at St. Paul's. They were so cool. I loved that hospital. I loved the staff. When I became a paramedic, I had a great partner. Things were nice. He was really good. Like Steve Boley, I don't know if you've ever met.
I think I did meet.
Steve was like the gentle father.
Okay.
Bigger man, but great with people. Like you could see how he treats people, how he addresses them. And I thought, that's the way I want to be. And I kind of emulated a little bit what he does. And then when I became ALS, and of course, there were a lot of old school ALS, and some of them, of course, the evil twins, and some of them were really difficult, and they ground your ass.
Yeah.
But there were other people that were incredibly funny and soft-spoken, and they got things done amazingly. And I don't know if you know Geoff Taylor.
I think I met him.
So he was ALS at 47, and then he was a supervisor, and then he went up to the interior. And I worked with Joe a lot. He just had this shitty little smirk every time he wanted to say something. He knew it was going to be something smart ass, but it was always in jest and fun. And so I encourage that. I promote that. When I finished and became ALS and I decided I'm going to precept, I said to people, and they thought I was stupid and crazy, I am not putting the student in the back of the ambulance. They're going in the front seat.
Mm-hmm.
I was never allowed in the front seat as a student. I said, but you're not part of the call. Right? You can't see what's on the machine. You don't know where you're going. It's like, and people didn't give a shit. And I said, no. And I noticed that when I did that, other people that came along, they may not have done it all the time, but they experimented with it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the student, you get in the front. And then I encourage people going forward, if you're going to be a mentor or preceptor, you think of all the things that you did not like, and don't you repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've just learned to do that. And so when I meet people, I always think, where was I?
Right.
Why should I have to put them through the same thing? I should be nice. I should encourage them. I should empower them. And I should praise them. I shouldn't tear them down and destroy them. And I've done that in nursing. I work with great people. I go back to work and people love to see me. So obviously I haven't twisted too many people the wrong way. And so that's where it came from. And I encourage that with everybody each time.
Yeah. So it sounds like you really sort of took all the good qualities you liked in people that you're interacting with and adapted that. And then kind of also noticed the
Yeah,
you know,
I just did not want to repeat.
typical qualities and let that alone. Like I'm not.
Yeah, get rid of all the
Yeah.
qualities that are no good. It's the same as like, you walk in with an orange kit when they first started, and people almost stood at attention. Like, I'm just a guy with an orange kit. Like, calm down.
Right.
Like, who cares? Like, it's not us and them. Like, but there was a little bit of that attitude. The typical, why am I here? Well, you're here because your employer sent you. First of all, it's got nothing to do with the people there. So drop the attitude right from the start. So those are the kind of things I saw around me, and I didn't want any of that. So I changed it, and I encourage that now, and a lot of people do it. So.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I always felt like you made me feel like a part of a team, and a part of the call where you're sort of mentioning kind of the old school way. And I remember that when I started, that it was very much like stand over there, don't talk unless we ask you a question, and be able to react as soon as I ask you for something. And I just never really felt like I was useful in that situation.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Well, the other thing I did, when I started deciding I wanted to sort of do unit chief stuff and was acting at 47 and then 47. I hope the same thing. I had a different philosophy as a unit chief. Like, I'm not there to bust people's balls. I'm there to make sure they have the equipment they need, both personal and equipment on the vehicle, and that they can do their job properly, and that they're treated well. And that was my focus as a unit chief. Doors were never locked, not locks on anything. People would come to the station and work from out of post. And I'd say, where's your jacket? Miserable. My unit chief won't get me one. Are you here tomorrow? Yeah, I'm getting you a jacket. I would order it, call the superintendent, say, can you process this order right away? Yeah. Call PDC. I drove by them every day. I'd say, oh, can you fill this order by tomorrow? Yeah, okay, I'll pick it up.
That's awesome.
And then I'd have a jacket order. And then I'd bill it back to their unit chief, and I'd send them a memo, because I know the unit chief would grind their ass. What the hell were you doing in the crate and havoc? No, this person needed a proper equipment to do their job. And part of that was personal clothing, which you're entitled to under the collective agreement. So if you don't want to order it, that's fine. I'll order it for you. I can't tell you how much clothing I ordered. Unbelievable amount of clothing.
What a great impact that is for someone starting out.
Oh,
right?
Like, be nice to them. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how hard is it to be nice?
Right.
Like, how hard is that?
Yeah, and they need the jacket.
And they need the jacket, man. Right. Or you need boots, or you need, some guy's got a shirt and it's the only shirt he has, and he's been in 6 months. Like, where are your shirts?
Right.
Well, my unit chief won't order them, or I can't get them. Really?
Yeah.
Christ, I can get stuff in 24 hours. I'm getting it.
Yeah, I wonder if that's that mentality is sort of like, well, this is how it was for me, and this is how I'm going to be.
I think that was it.
Now that I'm in that position, right?
Yeah. And so that's why I said I didn't want to carry forward all those bad things that I noticed, or I wouldn't say bad, but negative, not very positive. Didn't help people up. As you say, you just kind of push them away and change things, And so now you'll see a change, hopefully, in most ALS that go out on the street. As other people endorse it that work with me, Steve Green, Robbie Long, JD, even Graham, make things positive, make people more respectful. You're not an elitist just because you have a different thing, And I don't tolerate that shit with any of them. If I get that attitude, even somebody who's been out there for a few years, I'll just talk to them right away. Like, what's with the attitude?
Oh, that's great.
And I think it helped because I was also a street supervisor.
Right.
So they saw me on a daily basis. I had 4 stripes. Yeah, I was a big honking dude. But same for the attitude. I'm never there to bust anybody's balls. I'm there to help them out. So I'll get that.
Well,
Thank you for I try to be good to people.
Yeah. Well, I noticed it. A lot of people notice it. A lot of people, look forward to seeing you out there. Look forward to being on the call. I knew it was going to be Papa One coming up on the day shifts. You did lead by example. So,
well, I thank you for that. I'm glad that I've had some positive, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted people to to feel like when I came, they knew I was there. I'm there and friendly. I'm going to help them out. We're colleagues. What do you need? What can I help you with?
Well, and I can probably also say that there would be, I mean, a line around the block 5 times over of patients, families, and
Yeah.
people that you have helped that would say thank you, and you made me feel
Yeah.
special that day.
And well, I hope that's what I leave as a legacy. You want to call it a legacy or as my, is that, it's the one thing we don't see a lot of is from families. You will occasionally get, but it's not something I expect. Even in the worst moments, if we leave a positive influence on people for doing something simple, like, we get to a hospital and we get a warm blanket and put it on somebody and they remember, you know what? Paramedics gave me a warm blanket. I was freezing cold and uncomfortable and boom. Wow.
I use that tool.
We have made an unbelievable impression on someone when they least had the ability to get up and move and do things. And wow. And it's simple.
Yeah. I will sometimes, you're with someone for maybe, 20 minutes alone back of that ambulance and, you're helping them. And sometimes, you're just talking to them to know them. And then the handover of care to the nurse and then you're doing your paperwork. I will go back in the hospital knowing that there's been some tests done, that initial conversation has been done that side and just say goodbye.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, I like talking to you. Yeah. Thank you for sharing with me. And, it's nice meeting. I find that is a nice way to kind of end that call. And it carries, for me anyway, it carries, that positive attitude into the next call that I go to. It's you're feeling like you're doing something up there.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Geoff, thank you for meeting me here today. Thank you for sharing all of your wisdom with me and everyone who was listening. And thank you for all of your years of service. I am sorely going to miss seeing you out there in the field and doing calls with you.
Well, I'm very humbled by even the attention last night from so many people. And I showed you the little video where dispatch and
sign off.
A friend of mine that I've known long, Landon James. I don't know.
I know Landon. He's great.
And so I was very tearful in the front of my car last night.
Yeah.
And had to spend some time just sitting.
Right.
It was very, very touching to see the number of people who felt it, that maybe I helped them along the way. It was actually great. And, I will be back. I told them I'd be back once in a while and walking thing. I think the people we work with are an incredible group of people. I have met and have so many friends in the ambulance service. And outside of work, we are entirely different people. And I think being a paramedic is incredibly rewarding.
Best job in the world, right?
Oh, man. I will tell you, the boys in the bright white sports car, that's what we are. It is. I get to drive fast. Somebody else is paying for the gas.
Yeah.
And I can break all the rules. Like, what more could you want?
Totally.
And the fringe benefits of doing the job over the years, meeting the Vice President of the United States, meeting dignitaries all over the place, being part of events that occur not in our own neighborhood, in the bloody whole world, whether it be Expo or the Olympics or, maybe next year FIFA. And it's just like, how many people can say they've done that? Like, sure, lots of people with tons of money.
Mm-hmm.
But I've done all that shit. And I have found it so cool.
Yeah.
All right. We have an incredibly cool job. But again, it's not just the job, because very little do we actually give. But it's the people we work with, friendships. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure. And it sounds like you really took it in yesterday. You really soaked in that last shift. And you really
I did. And I find it, as I say, I don't take praise well. I'm a humble guy.
Mm-hmm.
My dad taught me to be that way. And I had young ALS paramedics saying that I made a difference in the way they go forward. And I think, if I'm leave a positive wake in my little bit of time here, man, that's great.
Yeah, well, I think you did, and you did for me, and it sounds like you did for a lot of people. So thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you very
Chris.
much.
Great to have this chat.
Awesome. Thank you for being here, Geoff. That is it, man. That was an amazing interview. Geoff Taylor, thank you again for agreeing to be on my show today. It's been a pleasure. Thank you everyone who listened to the episode. Please like, follow, or comment below. I would love to hear from you. My name is Chris Taws, and this is another episode of the 331 podcast. Thank you.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.